everybody. What's up? We're back. And I mean, when I say we're back, we're literally back in the studio. Oh my gosh, we missed you guys. I can see you, P.
I know.
Oh my God. So, like I said, we're back. It's your girl, Krista B.
And Queen P.R.
And today continues our Attitude Era summer series, hence our shirts. From Attitude Era.
Got my Shawn Michaels
shirt. Got my rock shirt, finally. Shout out to Ripple Junction on my shirt.
Wait, tell them about Ripple Junction real quick.
So, y'all, I know how it took me forever to find a Ripple Junction shirt. A rock shirt. And Ripple Junction literally saved my life. I found it. If y'all know me, then y'all know me.
Yeah, you love the rock.
I love the rock. Do you smell what the rock is clicking on the back? And if you go to Ripple Junction, you have to use the code Those Wrestling Girls to get 15% off your first purchase. Yes. Go up there, put a shirt on Instagram, tag them, tag us, and let them know that we sent you. 15% off. Who want 15% off?
I know, right? And you can definitely get Attitude Era shirts.
Definitely get Attitude Era shirts, get new shirts, get any type of shirt that you over shows and stuff you mark over, everything. So tell them that Those Wrestling Girls sent you. But We're back. We're continuing our summer series, Attitude Era summer series, and I'm gonna let P take it away.
So we did Molly Holly, Stephanie, Chyna, Jacqueline, and we kind of just talked our last episode just about women in general. We talked about the hoes. We talked about Lillian Garcia.
I was here for the hoes.
We was here for them. They was having a good time. Mm-hmm. But now we kind of want to talk about the forgotten women of the Attitude Era, like the ones. And you actually inspired this episode because you always remember stuff that I don't remember or people that we don't remember. So we thought about women like Tori, Luna, Debra, amongst others that don't really get talked about. Yes,
Ms.Kitty. So I want to start off with Tori because I felt like, I don't even want to say her reign or her run because I felt like it was like weeks. Like you saw her,
it was like,
you did. Yeah, like you blinked and she was gone. Mm-hmm. But she was a part of Attitude Era, believe it or not. Like she first debuted. I forgot how she debuted. I feel like I sensed her coming through a crowd. Mm-hmm. And that's how, because Attitude Era, nobody cared at that time. You just gonna run up.
Yeah.
So I feel like she came through a crowd, and next thing you know, she's with Kane. Mm-hmm. And then when Kane and X-Pac were like tag teams, but then started feuding or whatever, Tori turned her back on Kane. It was with X-Pac. And then she decided to be in DX, and she helped Stephanie win the women's champion for the first time. Like, she was just like a pawn.
She was.
In DX. Like, she was an integral part of DX or whatever.
Yeah. I remember Tori mostly in DX and helping Stephanie win the title. Like, that's what I remember most. But in those moments, and we've talked about her in our last episode, and you made a good point. Like, was she the replacement for Chyna when Chyna left DX?
Right.
Was she the woman in the group? But she was cool. Like, not, I don't want to say, she wasn't as memorable as the other women in the Attitude Era. Right. It was, like, very brief, but shout out to Tori.
Right, wherever you are. Right. Wherever you
Does anyone know what Tori's been up to? Like, please let us know. Because I had a hard time trying to find what she's been up to lately. Right. But, yeah, let us know.
So, the next person we're going to talk about is Luna. Now, Luna is royalty in wrestling.
She is.
God rest her soul.
She is.
She comes from lineage. She comes from,
I think, the Vachon family.
The Vachons, yeah.
Yes.
I think she's the granddaughter or she's the niece. Somebody. She's related.
She's
to
also a niece, too.
Yeah, she comes from that. She trained with Moolah. She was friends with Andre the Giant.
She did, which is interesting because she grew up in the business and like nobody in her family wanted her to be a wrestler.
Nobody.
And that was before like it was cool. Like now we celebrate Natty and Charlotte, like, the next generation of women, wrestlers. Yeah. But back then, no one really wanted women to get into wrestling. Like even Andre the Giant was like, no, but you get the bug. You grow up in the business, you're gonna want to do it.
Right. And she debuted with Shawn Michaels. Heartbreak Kid at Mania.
Oh my God, so dope. I found a really cool picture I'm gonna put on Twitter for this episode of them, and it's just like when Shawn Michaels used to wear all the chains and stuff, and like she has all the chains, and you know how she had the shaved head and the mohawk.
She was like the inventor of the shaved head. Like you know how that hairstyle's coming back. We got to give them to Luna.
Yeah, she was very edgy during that time,
and she was real. I don't want to say crazy, but crazy in a good way.
Yeah, yeah.
Like her voice was so different. Like it was real raspy. Like. You was scared to probably talk to her. I know I would have been. I'd be like, "Hey, sis, you good? All right,
we good, right? Okay.
We good. All right." And then when she got in the ring, like Jesus, she was unmatched.
Yeah.
Before China came along, there was Luna.
Yeah.
Unmatched. Like her strength. Oh my gosh.
She was really good, and she was like an actual wrestler. And I can hear her voice when I look at pictures of her. Like. I really, really could. But she, so we're talking about the Attitude Era because she was definitely in the Attitude Era, but she was in WWF back in 92 with Shawn Michaels, like you said, and she feuded with Sensational Sherry, who I think is another woman that's very underrated, and I think she should get talked about a lot more, too.
She should get talked about a lot more. Sensational Sherry, she was just like the valets of valets. Like, it was... Miss Elizabeth was the angel on your shoulder. Yeah. Sensational Sherry was the devil on your shoulder.
That is,
and it was like perfect. You couldn't. It was like yin and yang. You couldn't have one without the other. So it was just it worked.
It totally worked.
And her feuds were amazing. Like we should definitely go to do an episode on Sherry.
I would love to do that too because she was a good manager. She managed a lot of people like Shawn Michaels and even like Harlem Heat and WCW.
And Macho Man Randy Savage.
Yes, that epic storyline with Miss Elizabeth. I love, oh God, that's like classic shit right there. But so they feuded, which was good, but then they ended up leaving the company. And I didn't realize also she had like a little romance with Bam Bam Bigelow.
Sure did. Yes, she did.
They loved their romantic story.
But it worked.
It did.
It did. I feel like everything in Attitude Era worked. Like even looking back at it now, even though some things is cringeworthy, be like, we watched that? Oh my God. Like, what are they thinking?
Yeah.
They still worked. Now, it's like you forcing, and I feel like they're forcing more stuff together because a lot of the wrestlers are not around because of COVID, because they want to protect themselves, protect their families, you know, because Extreme Rules Horror Show, like Stephanie said, it was a horror show. Not just for that Sasha Asuka match, the Bray and Braun match. It was a lot going on. It didn't make sense. There were a lot of botches. We're not even going to talk about Rey Mysterio's eye.
Oh, my God.
I was like, did they just...
We should do a sound-off recap on Extreme Rules because...
I still got to wrap my mind around it before I do anybody's sound-off. Because it just pisses me off. And you're not going to let Ray go out like that.
I know. And I like what you said about how things just worked in the Attitude Era because in that time frame, it worked because that was the 90s and the 2000s. Like, shit like this just don't work anymore.
Don't work. Kayfabe is not a thing anymore.
It's really not. Like, were we really supposed to believe that Rey Mysterio lost his eye?
You know what's crazy? I knew he was going to lose his eye when he took the fucking patch off and his eye was, the covering was already on it, like the white, like, bruh.
Yeah. And it's like, how many times are we going to see Rey Mysterio get, like, killed?
Right.
And then thrown off a roof.
Not to be thrown off of a roof. Lost his eye. All that, like. All right, Ray. We get it. You're one of the greatest. Stop having to prove yourself.
I know. But I thought... Okay, wait. Sorry, I was about to go into Extreme Rules. But, fun fact about Luna that I found out when I was reading up on her is that she's the first woman to appear in a video game, WWF video game.
I think I remember that.
And she was in WWF Raw. And I was like, that is so cool. And, like, because she was so outlandish with how she looked, like, I could totally see her being in a video game.
Yeah, like, she looks like a video game character. Yeah. She went about like a video game character instead of being, like, all pixelated and shit. But
and I was thinking about how
it would look. Used to look. Yo, I had a Game Boy Color, and I had WrestleMania 2000. That was like game. Legit that and the Rugrats game were the only two games I played on my Game Boy Color. I kid you
Pokemon.
not.
I was like a Pokemon fan.
I only watched it on TV. Couldn't do everything else. But yeah, so to see, I can only imagine if they brought Luna back now to see how detailed her character would be because she had the vein tattoos on her face and on her head.
And she was just so, I think, ahead of her time. Yeah. Because now you see characters like Nikki Cross and other women that are allowed to be, you know, crazy like that. And, you know, I think she was more ahead of that, you know. But she did come back in 97, and that's when she did her stuff with Goldust, which is kind of, we talked about it in our last episode, but that's when Goldust did a lot of the dominatrix type stuff, and they would dress up in other gimmicks and drag and that's when he did the New Year's baby thing. Goldust did a lot of crazy stuff back in the Attitude Era, but
he's still going
strong. Shout out to Goldust,
aka Dustin Rhodes.
Yes,
because he's not Goldie.
Oh right.
Y'all need to just come back. Like,
I know.
That's it. Just come back. And I've always had a thing for Goldust.
I always liked him.
Like, I've never
always liked him.
Not liked Goldust. I've never thought it was weird. Nothing. I've always had a thing for Goldust.
Even as a kid, and I think that's like the innocence of kids. Like, we never thought to look at him as like
him dressed
weird.
up as girl clothes.
Yeah, like you said, like I always liked him, and we're gonna actually talk about him a lot in this episode because he was big in the Attitude Era. He was like one of the first like really risque like characters, and he was with Luna. And they had a match at Mania with Sable and Mark Mero.
I think I saw that match. I think I remember it.
Yeah.
But don't get me to lie, because it's a lot of wrestling stuff to really remember all the time.
I know. Like, I feel like I kind of remember that only because Sable was involved, and back then, like, Sable was, like, really...
Sable was it. If you ain't catch nothing Sable did,
right.
Don't talk to me for the next day.
Exactly. And then they had an evening gown match at Unforgiven, and Luna ended up winning. So...
Yes. She won. I think she won against Sable. She ripped Sable to shreds.
Yes, she definitely did. And FYI, throughout this episode, you're going to hear a lot of interesting style matches that women had during this time, including evening gown matches were very frequent and popular back in the day.
It was.
I
wonder if they were
vividly.
like really expensive dresses,
right? Because they ripped pretty easily, like pretty easily.
Pretty easily.
So interesting. Tea about Luna is that her and Sable did not get along at all.
Nobody got along with Sable.
Yeah, she kind of got popular. This is what they say. Whatever, I don't know.
I believe it.
That when because she did get extremely popular out of nowhere. She wasn't supposed to be a wrestler at all, and she got very popular really fast. And supposedly she became a little bit of a diva backstage. But what sucks about this is that Sable is not a wrestler, but yet you're given championships, and now you have to have wrestling matches. So someone like Luna is put in the ring to make someone like Sable look good. And I can see that being frustrating. Like that's like Charlotte Flair having to put over, someone that doesn't wrestle to be champion. And then they're also difficult to work with.
Right.
So I always found that interesting. And I think that led to Luna eventually leaving. But before we get there, she did do some more stuff after she stopped working with Sable.
She's a part of the Oddities.
Yes.
And I love the music.
Oh, my God.
It wasn't even like music. It was like sounds, bells, and whistles. It was just like you heard the whistle go, and then they come out and they'll be waving their hands and dancing and whatnot. And I think they actually danced with Too Cool at one point.
Oh, my God.
In the ring. I think so.
Oh, yes. I got to find that YouTube clip. They were fun. I remember them being really fun, and I remember always trying to remember each one because each one was like weird. You had the giant, and they were definitely a group of oddities, and Luna fit right in.
She did.
She did. Even Sable joined the oddities at one point, which was very, very strange. But it's the Attitude Era. Strange things happen.
Besides, it fucking us up.
Yep.
So that's gonna be our new punchline.
Oh, we gotta get t-shirts made. They should be like gray with like pink in black that says like the Attitude Era.
Then on the back, fucked us up.
Yeah. Oh,
with our logo.
Oh, I actually really love that. We gotta remember that.
Oh, I'll remember it
because people already started being like the Attitude Era fucked us up.
Thanks, Krista B.
Yes.
Listen, y'all know I just keep it real 100 all the time.
Yes.
Attitude Era fucked us up.
I mean, we're talking about dominatrix characters. We're talking about drag and
oddities, evening gown
and
matches.
all these specialty matches we're gonna mention in this episode end with stripping of clothes. By the way, so whether it's a chocolate pudding match, Yep, that was a thing.
Yep, you guys definitely caught an eye infection.
Oh gosh.
When Vicky threw her in there, Stephanie caught a whole eye infection.
Oh God.
Because she was like, it was people's mushing it with their feet.
Oh my God.
And there was some other stuff mixed in that.
I don't even want to know.
Stephanie takes it on the chin all the time.
Yo, she really does.
You a G, Steph. You a G.
Yo, check out our Stephanie episode, though.
Stephanie, you check out our Stephanie episode.
Right.
Please and thank you.
Yes, please do. Oh, man. So Luna had matches against Jacqueline. And then, remember Gilbert?
Yes. How can you forget Gilbert?
I know.
Because Gilbert came out as the Goldberg. So, well, he's going to fight somebody big and tough and strong. And there was Gilbert.
Yeah.
He did the whole Goldberg intro,
so
all
funny.
of that.
And I didn't know, because I didn't watch WCW growing up, I didn't know he was a parody of somebody else.
Oh, I knew that.
I just was like, oh, that's Gilbert. Like, he's...
No, I knew who was because my friends also watched WCW. My ex at the time, we were kids, y'all. It don't even matter. He was just like, "Oh my gosh, you have to watch WCW for Goldberg and Sting," and I'm like, "Boo!" But Hogan and the NWO and boo.
I'm like, about your, like, I don't care about that.
Like he used to come out with his action figures and.
It
was some WCW ones, and I was just like, not playing with those. Go give me that Eddie Guerrero or that Chris Benoit.
For real. And also, a lot of women that we're going to talk about tonight did do stints in WCW at some point, including Luna.
Yeah.
But, so she feuded with Jacqueline. She had matches with Gilbert. She beat him, actually. And then she took a hiatus, came back.
Time out. Who didn't beat Gilbert?
Right.
Oh, okay.
I don't think he beat anybody.
Right. He should still be in the Hall of Fame, though. I ain't going to hold you.
I mean, I remember him vividly.
Right.
Like, he was funny as hell. And it's all about that Attitude Era, Monday Night Wars vibe. Like, I'm all the way here for it. But she feuds with Ivory when she comes back. More in that crazy role. And then she starts managing Grit and Grow, which for some reason, I don't know if I have a blind spot. I never remembered that until I started, looking up more stuff in the Attitude Era again. But that was dope as fuck.
When she came, I remember.
Like, them as vampires, they could have did that for a longer time.
But wasn't Gangrel dating Luna in real life or married to Luna?
I think someone did say that. Yes. Yep, they definitely were. They definitely were. What a cool couple. Yeah,
I know, right? Too bad she's no longer here. But
right.
They need to do a Dark Side of the Ring on Luna.
I would love, because she definitely had her issues. This is a spotlight episode, but I do. She has left promotions supposedly because she was, had her own personal issues, but
vices.
But I feel like that doesn't take away from her talent, and I think she contributed a lot. It's unfortunate that her legacy isn't looked at better, but she did have a Survivor Series match with her, Jackie, Ivory, Terry against Tori, Moolah, Debra, and Mae Young. So that was something, which I remember that match also vividly for some reason.
I don't. Survivor Series is my favorite pay-per-view. I don't remember that match.
I think Moolah's team ended up winning. And then in Royal Rumble, and this is interesting, in 2000, she was involved in a swimsuit contest, but she refused to take her gown off.
In the ring,
yeah. And that was actually kind of mirroring how she felt that it was becoming too sexualized, which is, of course, one of the major criticism of the Attitude Era. And, she's a wrestler. She comes from a wrestling family, and she didn't come here to, strip her clothes. She feuded with Jackie for a little while, but then she was released in 2000. But I think her legacy is definitely a good one. I think if anybody wants to do, like, a big character or wants to be larger than life, male or female, I think you could look to Luna for some inspiration.
I agree. Next on the list, we have... Wait, let's see who we got on this list before. I might want to jump and come back.
I know, right?
Let me see. Let's do Terry. Because
let's do Terry.
We can't do Luna and then skip
Terry.
Like, Terry got to come after.
The Gold Dust connection.
Right, like... So as you all know, Terry debuted as Goldust's manager in '96. Mm-hmm. She's also his wife at the time.
Yes, she was.
Cigar smoking, gold wearing, seductive,
she was very swaggy.
Very swaggy. I
have to give that to her.
Furs. She like even when they came to Brooklyn,
phenomenal.
She came out in a fur. Did she not?
She definitely
did.
She did.
And
it was nice to see her and see them give her a little bit of props. Mm-hmm. For real. Because she was, and someone made a good point on Twitter that she was in the company from '96 to 2004, which is kind of
that's a long
compared to
time.
all the women even China or a lot of women we talk about. That's a long time.
That's a long time.
Like for real.
Definitely. That's too many numbers to count. Right. But yeah, she's been in the company for a while. She definitely debuted in '96 in Royal Rumble. She was a part of the feud between Goldust and Brian Pillman. R.I.P. Brian Pillman.
Yes, she was.
Sent Goldust. She sent Goldust a picture of her strapped to a bed. He soon died after.
Brian Pillman did. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we mentioned this in our last episode that in a lot of storylines, women were used as like property or like they were punished for things or like I'm going to give you to this person if you do this. So in Brian Pillman's feud and Goldust feud, so another interesting thing that I learned in Goldust's book is that Terry, Reynolds, and Brian Pillman used to date prior. So when they had a storyline together, it was kind of awkward because now she's married to Goldust.
Right.
So they were still in this awkward-ass storyline, and Brian Pillman kidnaps... I don't know if he kidnaps her, but I know he gets possession of Terry and starts sending pictures, and I'm like, this is so attitude... Well, honestly, I can't even say this is attitude era because we've had a few wife storylines recently.
Yeah, but it was nothing compared to what it is now, like what it was then. So that was definitely attitude era.
You're right.
And it was okay at that time because the 90s was
weird as fuck.
The 90s was weird, but it was also the best time.
Oh, yes.
Like, if you're not a 90s kid, we feel sorry for you.
You just don't know.
Like, the 90s was the best ever.
It really was. And wrestling was definitely a huge reason why, I think, too.
Definitely.
Like, that was such a cool era, and a lot of these things could have only happened like
during Attitude era. Without no censorship or,
cancel parties and shit.
Yeah, all that. Cancel culture is real.
Yes.
But, and then after she stopped being Goldust's manager for whatever reason, she joins PMS. Pretty Mean Sisters. And I'm just like, did they really name this group PMS?
Yes, they did.
Like, even at 8, I knew what PMS was.
Yes, and I was probably like, okay.
Right, like, here we go. Like,
all right.
And that group, it was Ivory.
And that was Jacqueline. And
it wasn't 3 of them?
Something Shamrock.
Ryan
Shamrock, yes.
But Ryan Shamrock wasn't even a wrestler.
She was not a wrestler.
A
lot of
Ken
women
Shamrock's
in the Attitude
sister.
Era were wrestlers, yeah.
And if you mess with Ken Shamrock's sister, Ken Shamrock is nobody to mess with.
Not at all.
Nobody to mess with. Oh, man.
Not at all. But that group, so we talk about a lot in our Jacqueline episode, but that group was mainly they were, I guess, pretty mean sisters where they would manipulate men, distract men, tire them out before matches. But Terry particularly was Val Venus's girlfriend, and she gets pregnant and he dumps her, which leads to other feuds. And then that's when she joins force with Jacqueline because she also just left Mark Merrow. So they're like, all right, we alone. We're going to join up. But then she realizes, she fakes the pregnancy. That leads to a feud with D'Lo Brown and Mark Henry and Val Venus. And it just was very... I don't even know how to explain it. Like, I couldn't barely follow it as a kid.
It was an entanglement.
Yes, it was. Yes, it was. Terry had an entanglement. There's a lot of entanglement in WWE
you ain't
storylines.
never lied.
Like, they had love slaves, Meat.
I remember Meat.
Like, they would force him to have sex with them. Yes, these are our storylines.
She suffers a fake miscarriage when she's with D'Lo Brown and Mark Henry. Oh, Jesus, like broke up because Terry was too into Meat.
Yeah, Jacqueline was like, "You are too into him. You're not focused on what got to be focused on. So we're done." Which is weird. And then also what I learned that I also forgot about is that she managed the Hardys at one point. She managed Edge and Christian at one point. And then she had an invitational that kind of was a part of like that feud that turned into those classic TLC matches.
Oh, so Terry's shout out to you, Terry.
Right, and they don't mention that.
They don't. Y'all need to give her flowers, like dead ass.
At all. And she got put through a table by Bubba Ray.
She did.
Shout out to all the women that got put through a table by Bubba Ray back in those days.
Put through a table, period. But by the Dudley Boys.
Oh, God. Yeah.
It was,
It was crazy.
Yeah.
Then she feuded with the cat. And she was accompanied by Moolah. They had a cat fight. And it ended with them stripping each other naked, as did most of these matches back then. And they also had a thong stink face match as well.
That.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. I remember that.
That
was a thing, you guys.
Yes,
don't hit up Twitter and ask them for it now. It's not going to happen.
No. It's definitely not. It's definitely not going to happen. But I don't remember her with Perry Saturn.
Okay, this is where I come in at.
Okay, please. Because I was like, really?
So, the Radicals come in. Mm-hmm. They debut. I forget who was fighting, but I know one of them went. The person in the ring went to the side and saw Eddie Guerrero and Dean Malenko and Chris Benoit and Perry Saturn. And they started to pick a fight with them. And they jumped over, as the Radicals. They didn't care. They were fighting. So, after a while, the four split up. So it was Chris and Eddie, Perry and Dean. And then Dean and Terry will always come out and Perry will always catch her attention. And sometimes it will fuck up their matches. And then,
remember that.
He, Perry, oh, I'm sorry, But then Perry and Terry,
Perry and Terry.
That became together, it became an item. Then it was parts where they was trying to go on dates and try to hook up Dean Malenko with some people.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they were together in the show. And then after a while, you didn't see Perry Saturn anymore. And then you stopped seeing Dean Malenko.
Yeah, and then he went through that moppy phase.
He left Terry for the mop because he got hit in the head.
Poor thing.
Yeah, he left Terry for the mop.
Does she I'm just like, what?
When you think about it,
yes, he fell in love with a mop.
A mop, y'all.
And that is that's the most vivid Perry Saturn memory that I have in my head.
Right. Which called her name. The mop name was Moppy.
Moppy. Yep. Mm-hmm. She had a name.
Mm-hmm. And then had to find something to do. So then Raven debuted during that whole ECW, WCW alliance phase.
Yep.
And Terry starts to manage Raven. Now, Raven was the Sting of ECW because he was really dark.
Yeah.
Really
broody.
And always in the stands, wouldn't be by himself, So that's how that happened. And then she becomes the host of Excess in 2001.
Yeah, they had weird online. They weren't weird. I shouldn't say weird, but WWE was kind of on it with the digital shows, I guess. So Trish Stratus hosted it, and then Terry hosted it for a little while, and then she feuded with Trish.
Right.
And they had a T-shirt contest. Yep. I think, what is that, 4 or 5 specialty matches we've mentioned now that are just ridiculous.
It's too much. That
are
even
not
count.
Wrestling matches. And shout out to Terry also. She held the Hardcore Championship during her
She sure
time.
did. Yes, she did. She
definitely did.
I don't know if she was the very first women's Hardcore champion. I think she was.
I believe she was, to be honest with you. I don't think many women won the, one of Godfather's hosts, shout out to her, won the Hardcore Championship. And then she came back for Raw 25, and you were there, right?
Yeah. You weren't there with me?
No, I wasn't.
Who was I with? Oh, damn.
I wasn't there.
I think I was with Cha Cha. Shout out to Cha Cha.
Yes, the homie.
The cuzzo. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Raw 25. I could have sworn you was there because that's when Austin came.
No, that was at MSG last
September, right? Yes. You're right.
Wow, I can't believe that's already going to be a year ago. I don't even know when's the next time we're going to be at a wrestling show. But
something else. Bring wrestling back, y'all.
Yes.
Bring wrestling back. I miss it. Yeah, she popped out at Raw 25 looking as fabulous as ever.
With her on. Oh, and fun fact, the reason why her character dressed the way she did and smoke cigars is because Terry Reynolds loved to smoke cigars, which I just thought that was a cool fun fact.
That's cool for a female.
Right? And they added it into the character. And she had the director's chair.
She emulated it.
She was the shit back then.
She embodied that shit.
Yeah, when she debuted. Shout out to Terry Reynolds.
So, we have 2 more left.
Okay.
And I'm trying to see, should it be Ms.Kitty we talk about first or Debra?
Let's save Debra for last because I remember her the most.
Yeah, I mean,
she left the biggest impression on me for some reason.
I feel like we can handle them together.
Yeah.
Because
they were kind of
intertwined.
Yeah, you're so right about that.
So, Debra, besides being known as the former wife of Stone Cold Steve Austin, she was the valet or the manager of Jeff Jarrett.
Mm-hmm. She was at first his business manager, and she used to wear like the business suits and stuff. And I remember that vividly because I've always been like a blazer person. So I used to like how she wore like the skirt suits, but of course like
the blazer that came right under the boobs,
and of course her bra had to show just a little bit. But I always thought she rocked
it.
Cute. I always thought she looked super cute.
She rocked it. Yep. She started off as a manager for Jeff Jarrett, and then Jeff Jarrett started treating her like trash.
Yeah. And she used to walk around with the clipboard at first.
And then this is what kind of brought China into the mix. Mm-hmm. When China was just like, how do you don't treat a woman this way, you don't do this, that, and the third. Hence comes the everything. the kitchen fight. I can't remember it. I can't remember the whole name, but everything's but the kitchen sink. Or the housekeeping match. Some shit like that. Yes. Y'all know what we're talking about. Y'all saw the China episode. But yeah, that's when it came, and then that's when Debra started to like find her own footing and stand up for herself.
Which I like to see.
And Stone Cold Steve Austin also came out to save Debra. Jeff Jarrett was about to hit her over the head with a guitar.
Oh my God!
And Stone Cold Steve Austin came out, gave a stunner, and I think at that time them two was dating in real life.
Probably, I think so too.
Because Stone Cold doesn't come out to say any randoms,
right? Oh,
any randoms. Like, all right, you're gonna okay, cool. So then after that, Jeff Jarrett leaves or he goes wherever he goes.
Oh, and then another thing, just to go back to some stuff that we talked about in the Real Talk episode, is that when Jeff lost matches, sometimes he would make Debra strip. Yeah. Yes.
We talked about that?
We had mentioned some of the misogynistic storylines, especially the ones that Jeff Jarrett was a part of. But that is just like, and it seemed like, you're watching this, it's normal, but then when you really think about it, it's like, this is how women were like, really projected. And then, of course, I can't think about Debra without thinking about puppies.
Thanks. Thank you, Jerry the King Lawler. I'm not going to hold you. I was here for the puppies, too.
I mean, it was fun back then.
It was fun back then.
So
now
fun.
It's just like, really? Is this what we're doing? Is this what we're going to continue to talk about, focus on?
And girls, like we said, were always stripped. Like, it was a thing. Like, every week you at least saw at least 2 pair of boobs sometimes. Like, there was some sort of stripping. Even the men, there was some sort of, raunchiness.
Within, whether with audience members, the wrestlers, the talent.
Yes. Sexual innuendos all over the place.
Mae Young.
Oh, gosh. Yes.
We definitely have to do a spotlight on Mae Young.
Yeah, we should totally do that. And then I learned, too, that it was Road Dogg that originated the term puppies at first. I said it the first time. And then the King just sort of, like, ran with it. And I was like...
Oh, I didn't know that. I thought it was King.
Interesting. Me, too. And he just kind of, like, made it his own.
I mean, well, it makes sense because Road Dogg and Jeff Jarrett was... Yeah. They were kind of like a tag team.
Road Dogg was funny back then.
Road Dogg is still funny.
I want to say he is
He's
funny.
Hilarious.
He is funny. Big part of the attitude.
Yeah, shout out to you, Road Dogg. You was like my favorite D-Generation X member.
Me too. Like, I love doing his entrance. Like, I would go to school and
all the time,
like, singing it in my head.
All the time. And then when they came out,
that was one of my favorite parts of
Hall of Fame.
Oh my God. We got to see
D-Generation
That was one of the best Hall of Fame classes that we were able to be a part of. Like, for real. Right. Like, Harlem Heat, Bret Hart and Anvil, DX.
The Butcher, the Barber.
Yes.
The Barber. I said the Butcher, Lord. Brutus. All right, anyway, back to what we were talking about. Yeah, so then Debra started to kind of find her footing, and then when she started to find her footing, Ms.Kitty came. That was Jeff Jarrett's way of making it up to her.
Yes.
By
giving her an assistant.
So it was just like, cat. And she was just like, wait a minute, what? So Ms.Kitty came out dressed like her, walked like her, talked like her, stood next to her. And then after that, after a while, you know, China started to, you know, interfere again and whatnot. Or no, China was interfering while Ms.Kitty was there. Because I remember Ms.Kitty, like, being all caught up in that match. And it was like every type of food and all that stuff that she was covered in as well. And she got tired of it.
Yeah, she did.
So it was just like, okay, so then Debra went off, disappeared to wherever she disappeared to. And then she ended up with Stone Cold. But we also, I just saw right here that I forget that how close she was to Owen Hart.
Yeah.
Because Debra, Owen Hart and Jeff Jarrett were tag teams. And when he died, they didn't know.
She was managing them
She was managing them at the time, yeah. They didn't know because he had a separate match. And when they took him out, they didn't tell him till after his match was, Jeff Jarrett's match was over. And then the next day on Raw, you just see Debra crying. She's like, I just saw you. You were just here. It makes you, that's what puts in perspective, like, go in a heartbeat.
Right.
Oh, my gosh.
And it's still crazy to think of, like, everything that happened the night that Owen died, like, how everything continued. Like, her and Jeff were supposed to just act like, you know, like...
Well, they didn't know.
After, you know, they were supposed to just be like, okay, well, you know, next, and then go to work the next day and, you know, have to do that. But she was definitely... She was definitely a part of that, and she was a former champion.
Yep.
And guess what kind of match she won to become champion?
Let me guess. Evening gown match?
Yes.
Jesus.
And what's interesting about the championship during this time, which is fascinating, is that a lot of non-wrestlers were champion. Like Debra, like Sable, like the Cat, like, you know, others. I mean, we had Molly Holly. We had Jack.
They were wrestlers.
Like,
there was a lot. There were a lot of non-wrestlers, or just to say that they got it to just make, you know, spruce it up a bit. But yeah, like, she won that match, and I'm just like, and I think that's because Sable was over it at that point. Like, Sable was just like, first, I personally feel like Sable saw Debra's competition, for one.
Yeah, I heard it was very competitive with the women backstage during that time.
And then two, it's just like, why am I still showing assets? Like, Sable proved that she can wrestle. Like, she can do a couple.
She could do
moves.
a little something.
Yeah, like,
and she was super popular. You know, like, you can't deny how popular Sable was.
And I'm pretty sure if she would have wrestled somebody and used them legs, because she has some long legs, to put in a headlock or something, nobody would have booed her.
No, definitely not. Definitely. No one was booing Sable back then. Like, for real. But Debra, I mean, that's pretty much everything that Debra did, but I don't know why she made such an impression on me, but she was with the company for a few years.
She had a feud with Stephanie, too.
She had a feud with Stephanie. She had a feud with Ivory. She was a big part of it. And then she was with Stone Cold during when he was a heel, and they did a lot of comedy stuff. Like,
they were married.
They were married at the time, and she would bake these nasty cookies, and it was like a joke that she would be like, you know, you want to try my cookies? And I was like, oh, I kind of remember that. But and then she left in 2002, and now she does, like, I think real estate, but I know she did really good after, like, for herself after wrestling. But I'll always remember Debra when I think about the Attitude Era.
Definitely. You can, no way you can't.
Right.
And to close us out is Ms.Kitty. Like, we were talking about her before. They really went hand in hand.
They really
did. But
I
feel bad because Kitty didn't have her own personality.
She didn't, because as soon as she started managing China, she started dressing like China. She even dyed her hair black.
She dyed her hair black or wore a wig, whatever.
Right.
And then, come to find out, she was married to the king. So, you know, when she left, King was like, listen, either you bring her back or I'm gone. Vince was like, deuces.
Yep.
King was like, right back at you. I'm out.
And he definitely
left
when she left.
He rode for his wife.
He did.
Then they got a divorce. He came back.
And then he came back and he was been here. So
he's been here. Yeah, but Ms.Kitty, she's forgotten in this sense because people really don't mention her, you know. But she was definitely in the bubble wrap match.
She definitely wore a bubble wrap bikini.
Yeah.
And she was in a lot of these matches that we talked about, evening gown. She was in evening gown matches, evening gown pool matches, which is different apparently. She was in a chocolate pudding match. She was in that bikini contest and she won in a bubble wrap. No, she didn't win. I'm sorry. Mae Young won, but she was in a bubble wrap bikini. Then she also was in a snow bunny lumberjill match where they were in a fake pool with snow. And yep. Mm-hmm. And of course, we mentioned already the thong stink face match. And she was only with the company for 2 years?
If that. But how disgusting.
Right.
And perverted.
I know. Oh, my God.
It's just so draining. Yeah. It's just so draining. I mean, like I said, Attitude Era fucked us up.
It did.
Because back then we were for it. I'm not going to sit here and lie and say that I wasn't. But now it's just yo, you really have to be a sick freak to really sit and enjoy watching these women and bubble wrap matches.
Oh my God.
And stink face matches and evening gowns and chocolate pudding and this is why I'm glad China stood up for what she stood up for.
And she was involved in a lot of the, stripping and everything, but she was strong and she was a wrestler and she wrestled men and we took her seriously. And now it's so hard to think about. I can never see the women objectified now in that way. They have proven themselves to be, legit athletes. I can never see, Sasha Banks. They're just, stripping and then, that's how I got my championship. Now I'm going to put on a 5-star match, just like the men.
Let's not use Sasha Banks because she just did not deliver on Sunday for me. I'm sorry. Oh, so you just got to use another example. We
definitely got to recap Extreme Rules.
Yeah, no, because it's going to turn to a Sasha, for many of these Sasha stands. From me, you think it's going to be a Sasha bashing moment, and it won't be. I know I tell the truth. I just was not pleased. The whole show was a botch. The entire show was a botch.
Very weird show.
From Ray. I think the only one that wasn't a botch was Drew and Ziggler.
I like that match.
And New Day and Cesaro and Shinsuke.
I like that match.
Everything else did not flow as it should have flowed.
No, and it was also weird. And I definitely want to do a recap that it was a Halloween-ish themed in the middle of the summer.
Dead in a freaking heat wave.
That was already weird. I was just okay, this is what we're doing. But I think looking back at the Attitude Era. And everything in the Attitude Era was ridiculous like that. Everything had a theme. The pay-per-views had different sets every time. There was something so fresh and exciting about that time every week.
What pay-per-view that's no longer out would you want them to bring back?
Oh, that's a good question.
And y'all let us know too. What Attitude Era pay-per-view do you want them to bring back if they could?
For some reason, I always liked Unforgiven. Oh, yeah. It has that whole Attitude Era vibe. I don't know why, but it always has. If Valentine's Day falls on a Sunday, they should do another St. Valentine's Day Massacre.
I was just thinking that.
Was such a lit.
Man. It was
and I think it was one time
Sunday.
Only. Yeah,
so man. Oh, man.
How about you?
I want to say No Mercy, but they bring that back every now and again.
They do. No Mercy, yeah.
What else? Damn, there's so many. Unforgiven, definitely.
Did you like the In Your Houses?
I never really watched them growing up, to be honest. Yeah. I've seen some. Some Backlash was one of my favorite ones too.
Oh, Backlash. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Backlash was definitely one of my favorite ones.
I always liked those. Mm-hmm. And even we talked about this before, the classic Survivor Series matches. I miss they still do it, but before it just felt different. The teams just felt
It was
different.
never, I don't think it was more, it's more invasions now than there were then.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I love the invasions.
Me too. I love it.
I
love it. I can't wait for this year.
If it's properly executed. Because if not, just put on the year that Becky got punched in the face when he stinks.
Already? That's already going to be 2 years ago, which is insane.
Is that the same year where the Shield was together? Yes, it was.
Yes.
Or was that last year?
No, I think that was the year the Shield was together. Because last year, Survivor Series time... Moxley was Moxley.
It just makes me sad.
No, it does. But
SummerSlam's about to come up, so I can really rewatch that video of me screaming at the top of my lungs.
Literally at the top of your lungs. I'm excited for SummerSlam.
Oh my gosh. And that's like my second favorite pay-per-view, right next to Survivor Series.
If I had a second one, I think it would be Survivor Series would be my second one. Because I like the invasions. I like the setups the weeks beforehand.
So if I had to rank it, 5 would definitely be... Damn, how many fucking pay-per-views are there in the year?
Big Four is Royal Rumble.
All right, so let me do it that way. The Big Four. So I think it would have to be Royal Rumble, Mania, SummerSlam, Survivor Series as it being number 1.
Oh, okay. Mine would be Royal Rumble, Survivor Series, SummerSlam, WrestleMania.
Yeah.
And it's no shade to WrestleMania. It's just not my...
WrestleMania can run on.
It's just long. Very long.
Yeah,
like a lot Becky of pressure said, on WrestleMania.
They went on Sunday. They left on Monday.
She was champion on Monday. So looking back on the Attitude Era and the Forgotten Women and everything, and we're gonna do a couple more episodes in the Attitude Era series. But what are some other thoughts you have on the Attitude Era, especially because our show is about women now and just looking back on things?
Besides, the Attitude Era fucked us up.
That's the moral of the story.
That's the moral of the story, kids. Tell your parents Attitude Era fucked y'all up, and they are the cause for letting you watch it. No, but I'm glad that those matches happened, so history doesn't repeat itself to keep it going. And I'm glad that we had people like Chyna and Luna to stand out, so that we can have people like Nia, Tamina, Natty, Naomi, Beth Phoenix today. Yeah. So I'm so glad that those matches happened for these women today. I agree. Your thoughts?
Honestly, that kind of sums it up for me, because I know that the Attitude Era gets a bad rap, but at the same time, women like Tori, she was presented as a strong female presence in some of her reign. Like, there were signs of that, and I don't want to not give these women their props for going through tables, fighting men, having to strip and all that kind of stuff. Like, that's not an easy thing to perform. And like, looking at Trish Stratus, that I like to look at, because she was able to come out of the Attitude Era as a sex symbol and really became a wrestler and was able to build that bridge. And we'll do a Trish Stratus episode, but I like seeing how far we've come. Like, I'm not gonna say I wish none of this ever happened, because again, this was our childhood. It was fun shit to watch. It was entertaining as fuck.
I just wish we could go back.
I really, oh my God, and that's why I love this series. And the reason we did this series is because this year has been so fucked up and hard that it was like, let's just like look back at like the most fun time in wrestling for us in our childhood too.
Definitely. Also, before we go, I have to shout out Vernell, because he writes us every time we have an episode. He gives us feedback. He tells us what we're wrong in. Like, he's a real one. He really is. He had mentioned that we always talk about giving these wrestlers, these legends, their flowers. Yes, that was and he stated that he's going to give us ours, because we're doing what we're keeping up. We're doing things that we love to do and keeping people informed. So Vernell, thank you. Shout out to you. We love you.
Shout out to all our followers. We just hit
our supporters. We just hit
5,000 Twitter followers and 500 YouTube subscribers.
So thank you guys so much.
I can't believe
love
it.
you. And on that note, it's your girl. Really, B?
I don't know.
Oh my God.
I was saying it in my head. Like, I was literally going to say Krista B. I was going to say, like, I'm just so used to it. I'm so sorry.
Okay. Take 2. And on that note, it's your girl, Krista B.
And Queen P.R.
And we are out.